In this video, I'm going to show you how we can configure null static routing on Cisco router. So first of all, here is a sample topology in which I have been given a network from ISP like 172.16.0.0/20, and I have configured uh, this 172.16.1.0/30 subnet within my two routers. And here is the LAN side, and on R2 I have given 3.0, and on R1 side we have used 2.0, and on the ISP side I have given 192.168.1.0/30. So why we use a null static routing? Here is some description for you. So first of all, null interface is a virtual interface like loopback interface that is already always in up state, and it doesn't forward traffic. So it if you send any traffic to toward the null interface, it will drop the traffic, and it will not use your router CPU cycles. And it is a common technique to prevent the routing loops in a network, and it uses summarized network range. So let's configure our network. So I have given this IP range, so I I assume that you know how to give these IP addresses. So first of all, we will establish the communication between these two router, and then we will configure the ISP side. So let's first configure the R1. So first of all, we will configure this subnet 255.0, and it is coming me coming from the 1.2 subnet that is connected to this subnet. This is the IP address of this next hop router. And because R2 uses the R1 to communicate, so it will only use the default route toward its toward the R1 interface 172.16.1.1. So let's look at the routing table. So now if I want to communicate between these two routers, so I can communicate. So just ping your device 172.16.2.2. So it will get the ping because it has a default route toward the R1 router. And similarly, if this machine wants to communicate with the 3.2 or 3.3 PC, that is LAN side, it can communicate. So it means our local network is working. Now we will need to configure the ISP side. So on ISP side, these are the IP address we have configured. 1.1 is this side. As you can see, 192.168.1.1, and one on ISP side, I have given 1.2 IP. So what ISP router need to do is push a static route toward this subnet that it has allotted. Sorry, toward its next hop. So it, because ISP has allotted the full subnet to me, that is why I have given the full range here. Full subnet is allowed, and now this R1 need to push a static default route. toward the ISP. So because R1 is the gateway, main gateway of my company, and if anyone want to communicate with this ISP or toward the internet, like from this PC, we can see the trace route. If it want to communicate with the ISP router, it will get the uh, ping, and you can see the trace route. So first of all, it will give, it will go to its default router IP address 3.1, and then it goes to my R1 1.1, and then 1.1 has a default route that is pointed toward 192.168.1.2. Now assume that you have used this network 1.0 and 2.0 and 3.0. Suppose someone try to ping unknown network. So what will happen? Let's assume we have pinged this IP address that is not assigned. So ping will generate a request timeout message because this is not the network we are using in our network, and it will consume the CPU resources anyway because we have not configured the null routing. And if you use the trace route command, you can see there is a routing loop. So this routing loop will will be made, and the packet will be is looping to the R1 and ISP side. So what we can do, we can configure a null static route here. That is, if anyone try to ping an unknown network, anyone try to ping my this range, sorry. So if anyone try to ping this range, its packet will automatically discard it. Like you can see here, if you ping any network, it will say unreachable. And if you do a trace route, simply the packet is discarded. Now notice one thing here, if this route is not in your routing table, suppose we delete this route. I want to show you because I need you to understand this, a very important concept. You don't need to have any accessories to drop the traffic, just need this one static route toward the null interface. And if you ping here 5.4, it will not reach, it will not be unreachable, but it will still ping, as you can see above. When the static null route has been configured, it is saying unreachable. And if you see the trace route, so it will still loop. So to prevent this routing loop, we have configured this. static route toward the null interface. Now you can see the ping will generate to ping will be generated, but it will say unreachable network. And if you can see the trace route, the traffic will be dropped. So in this way, you can configure the null static routing. I hope this is clear to you. Thanks for watching.